What if I told you that one of the poorest countries in Africa is building 5,000 kilometers of new roads? Not with asphalt, not with concrete, but with bags of dirt? Yes, actual soil stuffed into sacks. Sounds crazy, right? But here's the twist. These dirt bag roads are stronger, cheaper, and could last more than 10 years. Before I reveal how this insane technique is shocking the world, tell me in the comments, would you ever drive on a road made from soil bags? And if you love stories that challenge everything you thought you knew, make sure to hit subscribe, because today's story will blow your mind. Burkina Faso sits in the heart of West Africa. It's landlocked, poor, and for decades left behind. If you've ever driven on a dirt road during heavy rain, you know the nightmare. Vehicles sinking into mud, wheels spinning, entire villages cut off. Now, imagine that happening across an entire country. In rural Burkina Faso, farmers would grow crops but couldn't transport them. Trucks carrying onions, tomatoes, and cotton would get stuck for days. Children couldn't reach schools. Sick patients couldn't reach hospitals. And every rainy season, the story repeated itself. To fix this, the country needed proper paved roads. But here's the catch. Building just 1 mile of asphalt road in Africa can cost $1 to $2 million. For Burkina Faso, a country with limited resources, that price tag was impossible. Foreign aid agencies offered loans, but loans come with strings attached: interest rates, political influence, dependency. So, what do you do when you can't afford modern infrastructure and no one's coming to save you? You invent your own solution. Enter the dono technique. On the surface, it sounds like a joke. Instead of asphalt or concrete, engineers decided to use soil bags, strong polypropylene sacks, the kind you might see carrying rice or cement. These bags are filled with local soil or gravel, tied tightly, and then laid in long, straight rows like giant bricks. Once the foundation is built, workers spread a mixture of cement and gravel over the top, then compact it with rollers. The result? A solid, durable road surface that can handle cars, trucks, and even heavy construction vehicles. But here's the real shock. This method is 60 to 70% cheaper than building traditional roads. And in field tests, these roads have lasted 10 to 15 years, almost as long as asphalt. Think about that for a second. A road built with nothing more than bags of dirt and some cement can last a decade or more. When Captain Ibrahim Traore rose to power, he made one thing clear. Burkina Faso would not wait for foreign aid anymore. Instead, his government launched one of the largest self-reliant infrastructure projects in Africa's history. The plan? Build over 5,000 kilometers of new roads using the dono technique. Yes, 5,000 kilometers. That's enough to stretch from New York City to Los Angeles and back again. And here's what makes it even more impressive. Instead of foreign companies profiting, the labor comes from local communities. Thousands of young men and women have been trained in road-building skills. Local factories are producing the bags and cement, and the work is happening fast, much faster than traditional road projects. It's not just a road project, it's a national movement. For the first time, farmers in remote areas can transport their crops to city markets without losing half their produce. Ambulances can now reach rural villages where people used to die waiting for help. Children can go to school year-round instead of being trapped at home when rains flood the dirt paths. In some regions, small businesses have exploded. Where there used to be muddy isolation, there are now shops, markets, and new opportunities. And because The roads are built by locals. People feel proud. These aren't just government projects. These are their projects. One villager said, "Before, we waited for outsiders. Now, we build our own future." That sense of ownership is powerful. Here's where the story gets even more interesting. Experts are now asking, could the dono technique work outside Africa? Think about rural America. Small towns where funding for roads is scarce, where potholes go unfixed for years, or developing nations in Asia and South America, struggling with the same high costs of infrastructure. If soil bags can build durable highways in one of Africa's harshest climates, why not everywhere else? Why spend $1 million per mile when you can build a strong road for a fraction of that cost? Of course, critics argue it's not a replacement for highways in big cities, but for rural areas, farm roads, and small towns. This could be revolutionary, and maybe, just maybe, the solution to America's crumbling roads won't come from Washington, but from the ingenuity of Burkina Faso. So, let's go back to the beginning. A poor African nation, tired of waiting for handouts, decided to use bags of dirt to solve one of its biggest problems. Today, those dirt bag roads are carrying trucks, feeding markets, saving lives, and inspiring the world. Sometimes, the most powerful solutions aren't high-tech or high-cost. Sometimes, they're simple, brilliant, and right beneath our feet. Would you trust driving on a road made of soil bags? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening stories about how ordinary people are changing the world.